Yes, indeed. This is Professor David Steinberg. And I wanted to talk to you for just a moment about this fellow Ben Rhodes, National Security Advisor to President Obama, who recently gave an interview where he said that more or less, that the Obama administration lied through its teeth about the Iran deal, and the media printed the lies without any kind of questioning at all. To use Mr. Rhodes's terms, we created an echo chamber. When asked about arms control experts that appeared at think tanks and then were used as sources for hundreds of reporters. Rhodes described the reporters as clueless. In other words, Rhodes's account, because he's an arrogant jerk, Rhodes's account is that these reporters were all a bunch of dummies, and because he's such an incredibly smart guy, he fooled all of them. And I suspect he probably believes that because he's A, arrogant, and B, not very bright. The truth of the matter was this: there wasn't any kind of arrogance or any kind of fooling going on here. There wasn't any. He didn't fool anybody. The media knew what was going on. You see, you have to understand the mainstream media in this country, and by that I mean the network news, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, whatever other papers are considered part of the quote-unquote media establishment. It's nothing more than a propaganda wing for the Democratic Party. They will say in print whatever the Democratic Party wants them to print. And that's what happened here with Iran. They didn't care whether it was true or not. That's not their job. Their job isn't to report their news. Their job isn't to report facts. Their job is to run propaganda for the Democratic Party, which they did on the Iran deal. So it wasn't anything about Rhodes creating an echo chamber or fooling these dumb reporters because he's so clever. It was these reporters doing their job, doing what they always do. Remember Obamacare? Remember, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it? Remember that? It was a lie. The president knew it was a lie. The media knew it was a lie. They didn't care. Ran it anyway. And of course, Obamacare was a disaster. Not one media report that I recall brought up the point that, geez, this Obamacare, it's going into effect after the election. If it was so great, wouldn't it go into effect before the election? It would just seem like a reasonable question to ask, but not one story. And of course, it did go into effect after the election. It was a train wreck. Let me give you another example. The current presidential campaign. You can't swing a dead cat without reading something negative about Donald Trump. It used to be Jeb Bush. Remember, there was that whole effort to embarrass Jeb Bush about did he support the Iraq War, didn't he support the Iraq War, and, like it matters. That was how many years ago? And he wasn't in a position to vote on it anyway. Hillary Clinton did vote for it, but then, it was clear that Jeb Bush wasn't going to win, so the media lost interest in him, and then it's, you can't swing a dead cat on the internet without saying something negative about Donald Trump, right? Trump eats babies. Trump worships the devil. Trump is the devil. But what about Hillary Clinton? Did you know that Hillary Clinton's election to the Senate in New York was aided, if not secured, by corrupt pardons issued by Bill Clinton at his last day of office? It's true. There was a fellow by the name of Mark Rich. He was very rich, by the way. He was also incredibly corrupt. Biggest tax cheat in U.S. history at the time, who fled to Switzerland. But guess what Mr. Rich did? He funneled lots of money to Hillary Clinton's New York Senate campaign. And guess what? On the last day of his term in office, Bill Clinton pardoned Mark Rich, a man who was clearly guilty. And then after Rich was pardoned, he continued to funnel through various various allies, millions upon millions of dollars to the Clintons. Have you seen one story about this? Just one little story on the inside of a newspaper somewhere? No. I mean, doesn't that deserve 2 minutes on the evening news? No. We need to have another story about how Donald Trump worships Satan. That's what we need. We need to hear another story about how Donald Trump is destroying the Republican Party. I'm sure all these Bernie Sanders people are just supporters. Roughly half the people who have voted are just thrilled to tears that Hillary's the nominee. I'm sure they're going to all unite around her. Yeah, sure they are. But you won't hear any kind of story about that. The lamestream media in this country does what the establishment Democratic Party wants them to do. They write whatever the establishment Democratic Party wants them to write. That's what they publish. They don't care if it's the truth or lie. They don't care about the facts. They are the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. They make Pravda, the old Soviet Union propaganda paper, look relatively honest in relation to what they're up to. This is Professor David Steinberg.